So this is the section where it's the contenders. They got big wins,
right?
Or they got wins. Some of them weren't that big. They were just by the hair on their chinny chin.
Right.
So our game last night, Sunday Night Football. We've had some blowouts.
Yeah.
Not a blowout last night. It was a good competitive game.
It was beyond that.
Not a high-scoring game, but really good competitive game. The Tennessee Titans always give the Chiefs a battle. Chiefs pull it out. Patrick Mahomes had to throw the ball 68 times for 446 yards.
Yeah, right.
And it was the craziest thing because if you watch that game, you're like, that seemed like such a struggle.
It was,
for the Chiefs out there,
right,
to throw for 400 and some yards and 400 total yards of offense. But they won in overtime. I'm impressed with the Titans, just keeping it that close and basically doing nothing offensively the whole second half.
Right.
What was your biggest takeaway from that game?
Well, there's a few things here. One, this is a tough matchup for the Kansas City Chiefs. I always talk about this, right? You've heard me say this in years past. Every team has their kind of their kryptonite team they play, where it's just like, man, totality we might be better, but the way they play and how their team built, it gives us issues. It's, hey, I've been crappy on best bets all year, but that's why I picked this game as one of my best bets on Thursday. I was like, I think Tannehill's going to play, but even with Malik Willis, I'm going to go with Tennessee just because they have a feel for that Kansas City offense. They really do. You and I, right? We had so many great looks last night, especially in the second half. You and I really paid attention to the game, and then we could look over to the other screen and see the sky cam shot, which was like 5 seconds behind. So we got to see like, oh, wait, there's the play, and now let me see exactly what the coverage was. Tennessee, let's just start there so I can pay them some props because I love Tennessee Titans. I love Mike Vrabel. He'd be like one of those guys where I go, if you built a coach in a lab, he'd be kind of the guy, the attitude, the mantra I'd want coaching my football team.
Haircut, too.
Yeah, haircut, too. Right. Love it. Right. That was old sexy dad Chris Simms look. Now I'm what was it last week? Somebody said I'm an accountant dad.
Yeah.
I was sexy dad, and now I'm accountant dad.
Yeah, smarter. Maybe
right.
a little smarter.
I believe, yeah, I agreed. I'm smarter. No doubt about it. But yeah, I mean, his way of coaching team, managing the game, the way they play, their defense. I mean, again, last night, I don't know, Pete, maybe you can look this up on the fly. I don't think they blitzed more than 1 or 2 times the whole night. Their defensive line's real. Their game plan specific in the back end, like we talk about, so they do some different stuff and whatever specific to that matchup, let alone they're young and talented back there. And then, offensively, the offensive line just continues to get better. I just thought, I didn't know if this offensive line was going to be capable of what they're doing here as of late. But, again, yesterday to hang in that game was special, let alone hang in that game. I shouldn't even say that. To really be controlling the game, it seemed like, for a good part of it. I give them a lot of credit. They're scary. Don't anybody count them out. They can go to the Super Bowl, the Tennessee Titans. I worry about them lack of receiver, right? They need that one thing. There's no doubt. There has to be an emergence of Robert Woods or Treylon Burke when he gets back, or one of the tight ends. They got to have some go-to element, right?
I mean, they completed 5 passes in the game.
I mean,
none to a wide receiver.
And then you could talk about last week, right? And they did it to the Texans kind of the same way and didn't dominate them, but won the game, somewhat easily.
It's cool that a team can be good doing that.
Right.
I think that's one of the coolest things
That's what I think is cool. Exactly right. They're kind of like, it's old school where it's a little bit like, hey, we're going to run right here.
Yeah.
We're going to run right here. And you can't stop it. And I love that attitude. I do. That's Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s, the Giants of the 80s, the Cowboys of the early 90s. There's a little bit of that element. So that's where I respect it. But let's pay respect to the team that is just fucking unbelievable. We talk about the glitz and the glamour of Kansas City, and they're a finesse team. And I don't like saying finesse with Kansas City. I don't think it's fair to them. Are they a passing team? Yes. Are they a finesse team? No. I don't see a lot of teams, and we talk about this through the years. I don't see a lot of teams that ever out-hit the Kansas City Chiefs. I give them respect. For some reason, we just talk, because they're in the shotgun, they're not tough. No, they're plenty tough. They were fine mixing it up with Tennessee, getting in their face. But you said it. It was the ugliest 440-yard performance. It was guts and grit and a guy hanging in there with nobody open and waiting to the last second and never really throwing a perfect spiral or feeling comfortable all night, but just getting it done because he is one of the greatest football players we have ever seen in football. That's just my take on it.
It's like backyard football.
It's right?
like backyard football.
We were watching the end of the game going, again, we had that cable cam so we could see it, but I mean, we were going, look, nobody's open. And you're right. But he's just going to make it happen. He doesn't care.
It's the opposite of like the West Coast offense, where it's like boom, 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 get it out. Boom,
Right.
boom, boom, get it out. It was like boom, boom, boom. All right, run around back there for a while.
Right. Yeah,
Figure
exactly.
something out.
Nobody's open. Oh, still nobody's open. Okay, I'm going to have to run. Or still nobody's open. I'm about to get killed, but I'll throw a crazy ball. And, oh, my God, we completed it. It's the first down. I mean, it's the damnedest thing we've ever seen. It really is. And I think that brings me to the point, like what the other thing that we talked about while we were watching the game together last night. That was the first time where I watched the game and there was a different approach by a defense to Kansas City that I had seen, where it wasn't about necessarily take away the big plays. It wasn't about let's just sit back and stay patient underneath. I think they've come to this point of the year and seen 8 games or 7 games of film before this and went, you know what? They're pretty patient and surgical underneath in the short and intermediate pass game. We're going to fucking lose if we play, let's take away the big play thing, because he's going to pick us apart like he's done to everybody in football all year. And they played a game plan where how many times during the second half did I go, look at the safeties on? And this is Kansas City. They got safeties at 8 and 9 yards because they were looking for the short stuff. They were going to stop the 5-yard Kelsey throw and the 10-yard Juju Smith-Schuster throw over the middle, where then he runs for 8 yards more after the catch, and Kelsey's same thing. And that's where I found it fascinating. It might have been the first time I went, ooh, they kind of missed Tyreek Hill. It might have been the first time. And they got to have, an answer for that type of defense, because now teams are going to dabble on that in certain situations. And their counter to that is going to be, okay, maybe we got to have a few ways to maybe take some shots down the field and back the people off again.
To your point, the Titans, they blitzed 5 of the 78 pass plays.
Right.
So just a handful of times.
Okay.
And the Chiefs really had no running game to make them worry about there. Patrick Mahomes was the leading rusher, 63 yards, his most ever in a regular season game. He is the first player in the Super Bowl era with 400 or more passing yards, a pass TD, and 60 or more rushing yards, and a rush TD in a single game. So file that away.
That's special.
Another thing that Mahomes did there. But, yeah, no real running game from the Chiefs. Is that a concern for you moving forward?
It's not a concern because I don't think people are quite realizing this yet. And I'll even take it to Thursday night with the Eagles-Texans game. Al Michaels, Kirk Herbstreit, they're doing a great job, right? I'm really enjoying listening to them. But they were talking about, like, I'm surprised, the Texans are running the ball on the Eagles. And I was surprised too. But what I don't think people have really realized, and if you haven't studied Tennessee yet, their defensive line is epically good right now. It is as dominant as there is. I mean, they were pressuring Mahomes all night with 4 people. They said, we don't give a if you want to run it. Jeffrey Simmons, Danico Autry, and company, we're going to stop it. It doesn't matter. They would be scary good if Harold Landry was healthy. But I really like their team, and I think they're only going to get better on this defensive side of the ball. Christian Fulton just got back. He's a special corner in my opinion. The rookie they got out of Auburn, Roger McCreary, he was one of my 6 or 7 corners in the draft process. He's damn good. They got good safety play. Their linebackers are good. And we saw some of the coaching and the things they do as far as the defensive side of the ball. Ryan Tannehill back, and then an emergence of a receiver is going to make them dangerous. But damn, Kansas City, I give them respect for their toughness. And let's keep it real. I mean, they fucked up the Tennessee run game in the second half, right? It was non-existent. And they got torn up in the first half. In the second half, they went in, they readjusted, they manned up. They played a little bit more big people at the line of scrimmage. They played a lot of 8- and 9-man fronts, and finally just said, I think, fine, if you want to throw a go route or a fade route and we're one-on-one, so be it. But we're not going to let you run it up the middle with Derrick Henry all game long. And they really did a great job. They really did. 0
combined yards in the final 7 drives for the Titans. That factors in sacks and all that stuff. Derrick Henry had 92 rushing yards in the first half, couple touchdowns. Second half, just 23. We mentioned it a couple times. The wide receivers, they don't have that guy. They can separate. They can get. They did They used to.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown.
Right.
Now with the Philadelphia Eagles.
he was having fun.
He was tweeting last night. He was having a ball. So he was watching NBC. That was cool.
Yeah, it was.
He probably enjoyed our halftime and pregame show. Ain't nobody open, and just a shot of a guy laughing, looking at his phone there. And he's like, this is me right here. He did delete those tweets.
He deleted them?
He did delete. That's what Pete notes here.
What is up with that? Then he sent another tweet that said, repeat, nobody is open.
No one's open. He might have felt bad. He might have some friends on that team who are receivers. I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably really it.
Probably felt.
Hey, even though they're going to understand. They're going to be like, they get it.
He's like, I can't get open.
Well,
I'm sorry.
I mean, he's I'm sure a little bitter. He wanted to be there. I mean, he did. He wasn't looking to break the record in money, as we saw, the contract he signed, but obviously Tennessee wasn't willing to do that. And what's crazy is, I just go back to that, GIF. I don't know if we got it, Pete, and you could pull it up, just when they traded him away, and then Mike Vrabel had to get up in the draft room and shake his head, and like, whoa, we just traded that fucking guy? We had the perfect formula in the world. Run it up the middle. You got to put everybody in the middle to stop it. Oh, now there's nobody down the field. Look at A.J. Brown. Nobody can stop him. And honestly, that, to me, is the only thing that maybe stops Tennessee from going where they go, is that move right there.
He has 718 receiving yards. The Tennessee wide receivers combined have 658.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they can do at this point. I mean, Odell Beckham's out there. Maybe he could help.
Do you really think he's going to want to go there, though? Do you think he's going to want to go there and go, well, maybe I'll get 3 balls on a Sunday in playoffs after they've run it for the 74th time? I mean, I don't know. It could be good because you could be the go-to guy, but I don't think he's going to be ready to be the go-to guy right away, too, which could lead to unnecessary pressure. But, yeah, they got a little problem here with this, and I don't know what they're going to do.
For those watching, Pete and Kristen and everyone have worked their magic. Do we have that shot of Mike Vrabel? Oh,
okay.
They're working on
All right,
it.
we can get back to it. It's a cool. To me, it's just such a cool gift because Vrabel and GM there, John Robinson, who I have a ton of respect for, they got a great working relationship and they're on the same page. But if you're watching, here he goes. Look, here's right after the trade. Look at this.
He's like,
watch the crick in the neck right here. Look at that. I love that crick in the neck. He we'll let him play one more time if we can. It is so good. Watch as he's turning around, Ahmed, like the crick in the neck, like, damn, we just traded that guy? Look, he's shaking his head, and then watch this crick, right? Ooh.
Yeah, he's like, all right, we're going to have games where we throw it 5 times. All right.
right.
Suit yourself. So, yeah, they're still competitive despite not having that big play guy. We'll see moving forward if one of those wide receivers emerges, but both these teams are going to be in it late, which is cool.
Yes,
I like
they will.
both these teams. I like the way they play.
Tennessee
obviously.
is a team that definitely could upset our Buffalo-Kansas City matchup in the AFC Championship game. I know there's other teams there too, but Tennessee is definitely one of those culprits that would be a tough matchup for Kansas City. Thanks for watching, homies. Hit subscribe to see all my unbuttoned videos. You get to see me, Ahmed Fareed, all the big player breakdowns, game breakdowns, player interviews, and my film analysis. So please subscribe. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Peace out.